Hello Tark, this is Azbolg the Gaming Orc. I'm going to show you two interesting games of World of Warcraft and Battle for Azeroth, and kind of give you a peek about a week or two in the Battle for Azeroth and the state of Demonology. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Demonology as a whole, both in PvP and PvE. I'm going to kind of walk through some of what I'm doing here in the battlegrounds. Both these battlegrounds, I did top damage as Demonology, so it is possible. This paladin jumps on me. I don't with this particular spec. I joined the game late in this one, so it's not the full pleasure through pain spec. I'm going to highlight in a video coming out very soon that this spec does a lot of damage. So it emphasizes using shadow damage and shadow flame damage, and we're using our succubus use pleasure through pain to do that. So when I was coming out of there, I dropped the observer right away, observer plus demonic tyrant, the big demons. I'm playing with the Vilefiend in this one, and that's not usually one I want to use. I want to use the imp one. I cast Implosion there real quick. I'm just putting dots on them. I love putting Doom. I love the animation my character does. This stupid DK comes up behind me and is about to get whooped. My dog is about to maul him to death. Death grips me right into the maul. And one thing I like about, so Doom, you know, do you want to use Doom? It's not really, apparently it is the best when you use a druid jumps on me here. Death Claw him off. I'm going to fear him. I'm going to get some breathing space. He decides I'm too much for him now. This is sort of a 2v1, but their team pressure is actually really good, and we've lost control. The middle, they actually got the flag. If I step off even offense on that flag, like if I get attacked by another guy like that, even for a second, they're just basically going to get the flag because our team does not have enough damage or pressure to put it up. So Doom in itself is, I think, a really good battleground perk, especially with this build where we want to do additional shadow damage. But on that second tier, in PvE, you actually would use the Dreadstalkers one. And unfortunately, you know, in World PvE, where you have the War Mode turned on, you can use your PvP talents, and when you step into a dungeon, it's kind of jarring as a Demonology because then you don't get instant Dreadstalkers. So my question is should they just make it seems such like a baseline talent, and it's just really annoying that has a cast time, to be honest. And not like for 70% of the game, if you're not doing dungeons or raiding, your Dreadstalkers are instant cast. This is one case though where let me say something about Doom. Doom, even though, yeah, it has a in PvE especially, it doesn't do that great, especially in like trash mobs and pull. It does decent on boss fights, and it's instant cast. It does great, it does good damage, especially as your gear gets better. You're going to do better damage with Doom. It's going to crit people even in battlegrounds here for 10,000, maybe even a little bit more. With the shadow buff, with pleasure through pain, it does even more damage. And then the thing is, with it being such a long duration cooldown, is that I'm going to banish this Shadow Fiend pet, as that Shadow Priest is just on me the whole game pretty much. He's got his sight set on me. I'm really far away from him now. I'm just trying to push and keep people off the flag and just do the best I can. But in this case, this battleground example kind of shows you how Doom is quite good. You can do a lot of multi-tart cleaving, and it does generate a lot of shards, which ultimately can make you a lot of imps. So it synergizes well in like sustained healing fights. I think in twos, Doom can be quite good against better teams. But overall, you know, that's what I think about Doom. And in PvE, the sims come out that Doom is actually better. Another thing too is it helps out your pets on attacking, and I'll show that in another video where I talk about the macros you can use to help kind of make your pets a little bit more active. So I want to talk a little bit about just how Demonology and Warlocks are doing in PvP, at least battleground PvP from what I can tell. Right now, these two videos show that we can be on the top of the list. Are we going to be far and away kind of where it was in Legion? It doesn't feel like it at this particular juncture, and there could be, Demonology is still a little bugged. I haven't seen too many Destruction Warlocks, to be honest with you, but I do think Destruction is very viable. I just think Demonology is just a lot of fun. The mechanics and the way they've changed it. This guy disarmed me. He's just kidding. You can see how powerful the Observer is, though. But it does not have a lot of HP. I'm going to get mind controlled by this guy. It sucks. And even though that mage is just blasting him in the face, he still chucks me off the cliff. You can see here midway through the fight doing top damage. We have a Shadow Priest there, almost tied, doing really well. Again, the first thing I'm doing running into the fight is I'm refreshing Doom Tots, making sure I cast instant Dreadstalkers. I'm getting myself into a good position, which is down this gully here, and I'm starting to cast Hand of Gul'dan, Shadow Bolt. I wait till 2 shards to cast Hand of Gul'dan. So where do I think Demonology is in PvP? Really probably just middle tier. It feels like the other freaking priest tossed me off the edge again. It really feels like you have DKs, Hunters are doing incredible damage. I think Beastmaster Hunters are extremely powerful. They have good survivability, and I've seen them heal pretty well, so they're doing good in healing. Death Knights are doing great, especially tank Death Knights. I've seen them do phenomenal damage. I saw a Death Knight the other day in Mythic with gear score 340. I think he was a Blood DK. He was doing 4k DPS, and he was tanking, and we just blew through the dungeon. So I think there's a lot of viability even in PvP for tanks now. I think Blizzard has really helped out tanks, for people wanting to be tanks, to actually do decent damage. This priest tries to shadow control. He tries to mind control me again, but I'm way too far away from the cliff, and it's about time his luck ran out a little bit. It's the 3rd time he tried doing it, and I have dots on me, so it's going to make it easier, but he's lucky. I'm finally getting a little bit of healing from some of our own priests. What else? What other classes do really well? But I don't know exactly which one. Like this particular DK in this game does a great amount of damage, and I'm trying to see which one he is. I think he's Unholy, but I can't tell. He's at the very bottom there. The icon is kind of makes it hard for me to tell which one he is. Just redotting everything up. The game is still pretty close, and my succubus just died though, and I'm getting Arcane Explosion. So as soon as your pet dies, I'm trying to summon the Wrathguard because I don't have it bound, because I don't play this spec very much. Still doing top damage. I have 23 honorable kills, only 3 killing blows. So their healers are really sustaining them in the fight, and they're able to actually stay together. So I can't really get the killing blows. Unlike in Legion, where you had Sow of Seeds, and it would just do insane cleave damage. So especially in these group fights like this, especially in Eye of Storm, it was an insane spec that you could do. So I'm dropping there, I'm getting stunned. I just have too many guys on me. I have a Moonkin attacking me, I pop an Ending Resolve. Just too many guys around me and I die. So here we go, I sneak up behind him. I'm able to do some decent damage. Got this healer here. I could try to seduce that healer if I wanted to, but I get out again Dreadstalkers into maybe 1 Hand of Gul'dan, and then I drop the Demonic Tyrant, and I want to drop out with the instant cast Observer when I can, just to get him out in there. I feel I try Shadow Fearing both these guys, only hit 1. Try to Mortal Coil, I think that one guy. Oh yeah, that's right, I don't have Mortal Coil, so I instant Demon Bolt him. I'm just too low in HP. I don't have Death Coil, so I can't break away. And I have don't have like Casting Circle or anything like that to really get him away. But I caught a quick res, and we're trying to defend this node, which our team is doing good. We took it over. We took it from the Alliance here, and now we're trying to come in. And these guys are in trouble. But basically, we just all kind of caught a res. There we go. Just kind of destroying this rogue. It feels good to kill a rogue when they don't get the jump on you. There, kill that guy. And this guy. It's DK here. He's doing really good damage. Just drop. Oh, he's still alive. I implode him there. Does a pretty good amount of burst damage. So here's my thoughts on Implosion, especially with this spec, which is very imp heavy focus spec, which is nice. The problem with Implosion is it doesn't do enough damage. You really have to. It just doesn't do enough. It feels like, I know they nerfed it in the beta, and it feels like I got Death Gripped in here. I think that, so Implosion, the way it used to be was it would do base damage no matter what, but now the problem is that your DK, you're doing, when you do damage for when you do, like, your imps work off energy, and they can cast 5 bolts, and then when you do an Implosion on them, it doesn't do, you know, really any damage. So let's take a look. I'm just taking too much. I got a touch of death on me, and I died. So I wanted to show you at the end of this game here that I basically did almost top damage. I do 2.4 million damage. So it is completely possible as Warlock to do very high damage numbers. I don't see a lot of Warlocks do high damage, and this is a losing game where I got a limited amount of healing. They have over 3 times as many honorable kills, and a lot of that comes from the doom damage that I'm doing with the Succubus, as well as just casting 1 second instant bolts. So we're doing great damage as Demonology Warlock. Alright, Tark, here's the second game I wanted to highlight. This is an Battle for Gilneas game. I'm playing a little bit different spec, more of a normal spec. I'm playing it with Soul Strike, so I want to talk to you about Soul Strike, between using Vilefiend and Soul Strike. Vilefiend appears like it just doesn't do that much damage for whatever reason. You have to think about it too. When you're playing Demonology, this guy stuns me. I already used my stun from my guy there. He's popping cooldowns. I pulled that warrior so far away, he can't really do anything to me. So I'm dotting everyone up again. Our team got a late start in this game too, and they were able to cap the flag pretty quickly. But you can see how I pull that warrior away, and he, like, for some reason redirects himself back to me, which is fine, but I will kite him away. He's not hamstringing me or anything, so I can kind of keep decent mobility. And our team is finally pushing up. And another reason why I wanted to highlight this game is this is a game where I actually got healed by some healers in the battleground. Normally, I don't get any healing at all, and that's why in Legion I played Affliction, because you have so much healing from that spec, and you almost get 0 healing in general from in battlegrounds, which is just nice. That that guy there just ninja capped that flag, did a phenomenal job, and that's how you win the game, by the way. This warrior is back on me, stunned me again, cast instant Dreadstalkers on him. Dropped the my Demonic Tyrant plus Observer. I dropped the Observer right over the flag, so it really hurts them getting that mage off the flag there. This other guy's really low. They are getting healed themselves. He blocked. I tried to Death Coil him, or I think tried to kill him there, but he was able to break off it. This guy's frostowing him, but you can see how tanky I am. It's hard. I am getting a little bit of healing. When I get Shadow Locked too, that's another thing about I want to highlight on this particular game. You can't barely do anything, and when you use Vilefiend over, say, Soul Strike, you can actually cast Vilefiend while you're being counterspelled. So that's a nice caveat compared to, say, using Soul Strike. So let's talk about Soul Strike and summon Vilefiend again, since we're just kind of cleaning up the rest here. No problem. The problem with Vilefiend, like I said, it just doesn't do, when I spend soul shards, I want to do increased damage. With Soul Strike has a 50-yard range, so it has a huge range. So in it, your pet will instantly charge across the battlefield, just doing crazy damage. Okay, it will not. It'll just cross the battlefield. You know, and it's a gap closer too, so it's like an additional intercept. So your pet will psych it. It also generates a soul shard, which helps out with soul shard management. So, but the negative to it is that you have to constantly be spending globals to do it. So, like, even there in this beginning of this encounter, you can see I don't really activate it right away. You can't counterspell it. So whenever I'm channeling things, so in Arena it's better use Soul Strike than Vilefiend, because I'm not getting countered when I'm using Vilefiend. This is where normally in a battleground I would just get drop kicked, but this healer is like doing quite well, and he's relieving the pressure. He doesn't need to completely top me off. I'm death coiling that. I'm relieving the pressure off this guy. Again, I'm dropping down some handful of damage. When I cast a spell, I'm channeling that spell, and then when Soul Strike hits someone, it's instant, and it does about the same damage as Vilefiend. Now in PvE, you might want to use Vilefiend, because it's going to just do more damage. Even in PvE though, encounters now, they're getting more challenging where you have to move a lot. It helps out instant casts. So overall, unfortunately, I want to use Vilefiend. The moral story is I want to use Vilefiend, but I can't, because it doesn't do enough damage, and I'm spending a soul shard to do it, and it's a channeled spell. So they really kind of need to either buff it, really. Unfortunately, probably buff the Vilefiend. It feels a little bugged anyways. Yes, they changed the level cap on it, but I don't know if they really increased the damage on it when it was buffed from 110 to 120, and they just did that last week. So hopefully after the raid comes out, we'll see some buffs to Demonology. I'm hoping for that at least. I think I want to try some more Destruction, to be honest with you. I think Destruction, there is a lot of promise with it. It seems very interesting. It's much, much easier to play than Demonology, and one reason why I do like playing Demonology is there is so much going on to it. Just destroying these guys right now, getting decent healing. This game is pretty much over. They have like one guy who left, but you know, and they have only one healer, and that's one of the reasons in battle, like at least random battlegrounds like this, one deciding factor is really who has the most healing, because healing in general is just very powerful. And the way tanks and healing is nowadays, it's like very viable. Like healers can even do like 4K DPS in raids. See, I'm fighting really two guys, and I finally have some guys come help. I'm damage mitigating. That's where you can see Death Coil really helps. Adds that extra HP I need. So do I'm going to jump on this mage here real quick, and then we're going to see a drop the. You can see that was my combo. I want to drop the Observer plus. And you can see whenever these guys, even that Ret Paladin, cast anything, I'm going to cast Demonic Tyrant, keep my Observer up for 15 seconds longer, and there we go. That's the combo that's just really powerful. Your Demonology revolves a lot about managing your Demonic Tyrant. So in Destruction, we have a 3-minute cooldown with the Infernal that really helps out with damage. But you have so many pets that you can utilize with it, and unfortunately that's really the kind of way you need to take this spec. Is you need to take it to a Zoop spec, as Demonic Tyrant is sort of a base ability which buffs all your demons. So I feel like that's unfortunately really where you kind of need to take this spec in general. It needs to be more pet focused than say like the first BG I showed you, where it was mostly damage focused. That's the way it should feel like, but it's just not buffed that way. Okay, there we go, knocking them down. As far as difficulty, Demonology is still, I think, one of the most difficult out of all the 3 Warlock classes to play. This healer is doing a clutch job in at least a random battleground. But in rated battlegrounds, that would be considered average play, in my opinion. So if you just heal, if I get healed even a little bit, not even a lot, my damage shoots up, because most of the time that we have the survivability tools to really manage that. And you can see at the end of this game here, I wanted to highlight this, I did top damage. So yes, Warlocks can do really good damage. Don't give up on the class. Demonology is doing great damage. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys in the next battle.